everybody. Welcome to our webinar. It is wonderful to have you guys with us here again. So thank you for joining us. And I do see a few familiar faces. And for the rest of you, once again, don't be a stranger. Do feel free to turn on your cameras. But if you do feel, slightly shy, you could also enter in the chat box. Dr. Gary will be looking at that as well. And we have been hosting a couple of these webinars in the BBX Knowledge series in hopes to engage the community on a whole and also to keep us together in these uncertain times. So today we are honored to have Dr. Gary with us to present his webinar on the topic of calm the chaos, stress to serenity with pockets of peace. So having to deal with global crisis, multiple roles, Zoom fatigue, working from home, and some of you with your kids studying from home as well. Keeping healthy and sane, I think, makes things a lot more difficult. And people are just facing unprecedented levels of stress from all angles. So Dr. Gary will walk us through some of the techniques on how to shift your body towards ease and balance, and also get better sleep and just be at peace with yourself. So Dr. Gary, please.
Thank you very much. Can I get we don't have cameras on. If we have cameras on, and if you don't, can I get a show of hands? Who's felt stressed over this last week? So today's Friday, the last day of the week. Anybody feel stressed? And if you can't raise your hand, or if you are, but I'm not seeing it, just type in the chat box if you had been feeling any stress over the last week. Anybody? Yes. Okay. And if you could rate your stress that you're feeling right now, so just tune in for a second and just go, okay, if 5 is high, and of course 1 is low, where are you? Higher, lower? Just rate your stress. What are you feeling? And can you type in, by the way, just type in the number if you aren't too shy. I just want to see where people are at right now, because as we go through the session today, I'd love for that level of stress to drop. Oh, we have a 2, fantastic. Good. So 3, 4, 2, and 3. Okay, anybody else would like to share what stress they're feeling right now, or maybe how high or how low their stress is? Okay, and the next thing I want you to rate is this. Do you think that stress affects your health? And if you do, how much does it affect your health? So does it affect it a lot, or does it affect it a little? So if you can just type in, I'd love to, again, see everybody's perception on how much stress actually affects us. Ooh, so we've got a 4 and a 3. Okay, anyone else would like to share? Does stress affect our health? Anybody else would like to share with what they believe in? Because if we are rating the effect of stress affecting us to be a 3 or more, that means moderate or more, that's not so good. There was a study done a few years ago, and they found that people who had more stress, yes, they definitely had more illness and more sickness, but it was the people who had both a moderate to high level of stress, as well as a belief system that says, wow, stress really negatively impacts my health. They were 43% more likely to die. And based on that, they actually did a study for over 9 years, and they followed over 30,000 people, and they actually measured their level of stress and tracked them, unfortunately, until some passed away. And they realized in that 9-year mark, if they were to take that data, 43%, and they looked at everybody that passed away in that 9 years, that level of stress, that means high level of stress, as well as the belief that stress is bad for you, killed 182,000 people in that 9-year period. And that can be quite scary. So what I want to do today is to not just change your perception on whether health is good or bad for us, because again, stress, we might think it's bad for our health, it is not. But I want you to also realize that we don't even need to fall into the into the survival mode, what I call survival mode, the body's way of dealing with stress. And I'm sharing this because just like everybody else here, I went through this crazy pandemic and all of last year in not such a nice fashion. And I think that there are some people who have struggled maybe more than I have, and some others maybe less than I have. And I realized that speaking to some of my clients and in the virtual world and even live, I did a couple of live events earlier this year. I realized that most people didn't believe that they actually had the ability to control whether this year is even going to be a good year. And I want to give you that power back, that you can make this year a good year, that you can have all this chaos and everything that doesn't seem to work well happening around you, and you can still flow through. And this is what happened for me. And last year I went from a slow start at the start of the year, Chinese, New Year, and then Chinese New Year. And then I was away on a holiday. And when I came back, I literally just came back and I thought, what happened to Singapore? It went from fine before I left to everybody's wearing masks and going crazy buying toilet paper. So, and then from there, I went to close business and canceled live events to, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And then I had like 3 or 4 months of zero. And then I thought, okay, I need to really get my act into gear. And I started doing stuff. And it turned out to be a pretty decent last year. And I guess 2 or 3 of the biggest things that happened last year for me was I actually co-authored a book, which has probably had over 10,000 downloads. And I also completed 2 little self-help, pain relief programs for people. And, clinic was super busy, and I did, online or more online programs and got some big name clients like Collinson Group and even Nestle as well. So it, finished up with a really fantastic year. And why we're doing this today is because I want you guys to have a fantastic second half of this year. There are 3 ways that we can go about doing this. And I believe that, as a chiropractor, working with bodies and working with people all the time, we do have our mind, and that is very important, right? And our mindset. But today we're not only talking about the mindset, because we're also going to be talking about our body and how we can leverage what happens in our body when we have chaos, when we have stress. And of course, from a spirit side of things too, because most of the time we get conflict because our mind wants to be somewhere else. It wants something else. It dreams of being somewhere else maybe, or wanting something. And then right now, we don't have it. And that gap is what creates the frustration. That gap is what creates the chaos. It's like, I want to travel, but I'm stuck here. And so we want to find out how we can start to sync our mind, our body, and our spirit together. And this is exactly what we're going to go through today. So we are going to start off with the body. And I want to share a little story. Last year, this was me. I was just lost. I woke up every morning and I was just on autopilot. And autopilot just meant I would just go about my day. This was during the circuit breaker. And I would have breakfast. I'd play with my kids. And then I'd play with my kids. And then I'd play with my kids. And then I would have lunch, play with my kids a bit more. Then I'll have dinner. And I'll watch TV. Maybe play some games on my iPad. Go to sleep. And the next day was exactly the same. I didn't really know what to do. I was kind of like, okay, I can't do anything. I may as well enjoy time and spend time with my kids. And at the start, it was a really nice, maybe lie to myself. And after a while, I started to realize that maybe something is not quite right. What am I doing, or what am I not doing? Why do I feel so empty? Why do I feel like I have no drive? I have no passion. I feel like I don't have any control. I feel like life is just... And then it finally dawned on me, hey, hang on a sec. This is just my survival mode. This is my way of dealing with stress. I am coming up with some uncertainty, with some potential anxiety and fear, and I don't really know what to do because I haven't faced this type of thing before. And the moment I realized that this was just my survival mode and I can snap out of it, and I knew how to do that because, well, I tell people how to do that. I teach people how to do that. Okay, well, let's do that already. So that's exactly what I did. And I found out that my survival mode was mainly an escape route. I would just distract myself and I'd just get busy with playing with my kids. I'll get busy with, okay, maybe I'll work on this program. I'll work on this book, or I just kept on getting busy, but I wasn't really thriving. I was still in survival mode. And I created something last year to help people with this. And it's a little survey that you can do yourself. We're going to do a mini version of this because this does take a little bit of time, what you see right here. And it's asking, or it's checking, what is your survival mode? Because if we know our survival mode, and most people have heard of fight, flight, freeze before, yeah? So most people have heard of this, but the question is, do you even know if you're in that state? Because sometimes we go in that state like I did, and I was just kind of on autopilot, just kind of doing my thing and keeping busy, or trying to keep busy. But that was just an escape survival mode. That was the flight version. So then, well, if that was the flight version and I'm still there, how can I thrive and do really well if I'm stuck in that primal state of survival? And so would anybody like to know what their predominant survival mode strategy is? Would anybody like to know that? Yes? Great. So I'm going to go through 3 different slides in just a moment. And I just want you to have a look here. And you're going to read through. I'm just going to give you maybe 20, 30 seconds just to read through every single line, every single point. And out of the 3 slides, I just want you to remember between 1, 2, and 3, which slide most resonates with you, or maybe reflects some of the things and behaviors that you are doing relatively regularly, right? So we're talking about often to, almost, always, yeah? So the first slide is this. So you're somebody who has no patience, easily frustrated or overreacts, irritated. Maybe you just don't like what's happening right now and it frustrates you. Maybe you just want to change it. You want to win. You want to, it needs to be done this way. It has to be right. Is that you? And if it's not, are you somebody who is a perfectionist, just working and just doing more and more and more and more and more, right? Just trying to keep yourself busy. Or maybe just avoiding I want to do that, but maybe I'll do that first. Okay. Or do you feel just kind of overwhelmed like I did and kind of I need some time out or something. Just need to just. And if that doesn't sound like you, does this sound like you? Oh, I'm just going to, I'll just do my little thing. I know it's not great, but I'll just do this. And maybe I won't actually, I might just, I might just take this break and really just do nothing, I may as well just say, I don't know what to do. So, which one were you? Can you just share? Were you 1, 2, or 3? Which one resonated with you the most? So over 1, we have a 2. Who else do we have in the room? 1. We have another 1. Okay, so if we know which survival mode we are in, then we can catch ourselves and we can break free from it. Because for today, there are 3 different things I'm going to teach you. The first one is to release. The second one is to realign. And the third one is to start renewing yourself. And the first step in terms of release is we need to start to break free of this survival mode, of this inbuilt survival system, because you know what? This survival system works. It's really, really valuable for us because it helps us get through stress. But the downside of being in survival mode is we can never thrive if we're in that state. And if we understand what mode we're in and we understand how and what happens in our body, we can actually override it or actually use it for our benefit. And I'll show you how, because when we have stress, there's something called the amygdala. And the amygdala is very important because that's the part of your brain, this little brain right here, that's the part of your brain there that actually triggers your survival instincts. And what happens is it says, okay, look, brain and body, we need to survive because there is a big animal coming to chase us. So we're going to increase our heart rate, our blood pressure, our breathing, right? And that will help us to fight or maybe run away. And then it goes, okay, well, prefrontal cortex, you up there, I want you to stop all type of analytical thinking. Because you know what, when we're running from this animal, I don't want you to think about, well, if we run over that bridge, then there's a gap and you might jump and you might fall. So if we don't do that, we could run around the mountain and then, but that doesn't work because the run around the mountain is like a bit harder. And we don't want to have the analytical brain. So switch you off. We don't need you right now. And then after that, the amygdala says, okay, look, how about we start doing something else? Let's go and get better memories. That means let's remember everything that we see, remember everything that happened, because like we always refer to the past, right? Hey, last time when we got chased by this animal, well, I climbed up a tree and that worked out terribly because they could climb trees. And I was just lucky that monkeys were throwing bananas at it and I got away. So let's not climb trees this time, right? So we have a memory and it kicks in. And this is also the reason why when we are stressed, like studying for an exam, somehow our short-term memory is like so much more powerful. We kind of just zoom right in. Our focus is there because this is what's happening in our body. We have more blood that goes to the brain. We have the heart rate and the breath and the oxygen's going up. So all of this is helping us actually. And of course, the last thing that happens in our body is the thalamus, and the thalamus secretes hormones, and it's almost like a turbo boost. So we run on adrenaline, and that's why, again, we have so much energy. We can run away from animals, or in our world now, because we're not being chased by animals, when we have a deadline, we can stay up all hours of the night. We can still go and we have our focus and attention because of all of these systems in place. Except for if we run on turbo all the time, we do burn out. And so when we burn out, then we feel more overwhelmed. And that's why being in this survival state isn't great. Now, we know that this is happening, and we know that the people who chose number 1, you're in fight mode. People who chose number 2, you're in flight mode. And people who chose number 3, you are in freeze mode. Then you are all going to need different things. Because the bottom line is we don't want to be stuck here. We don't want to be stuck going, I'm angry at everybody and I want to just punch someone, and you get easily upset and you take it out on people that that shouldn't receive, be on the receiving end of it. Or you're just running away, or you're just distracting yourself and you're not making progress, and you think you are, but you're just being busy. Or you've just kind of shrunken yourself, you're playing small, and we want to change that. And so what we can do is we can use our body. And there's 3 different things that we can do. The first thing is, because we have an elevated heart rate, because we have elevated blood pressure, because our body is ready to fight or to run away, we can just move. And simply moving, like just doing a little dance or shaking it out or just doing a stretch. So can everybody join me, please? I'm going to just loosen up my buttons on my shirt. If we just did what I call a W stretch, right? So I want you to reach your hands up overhead like this. That's it. And then from here, bring your hands behind your head, squeeze. So behind, that's it. Right back, squeeze. Make a noise. Squeeze. And then all the way down. So your hands are coming down by your sides. And shake it out. Okay, one more time. Reaching up, reach up, back, behind your head. That's it. Squeeze, push your elbows together behind your back. Squeeze, make a noise. And we keep squeezing, we come all the way down. How's that feel, guys? Is that good? So if we are stressed, then all we did is just move. And we just start to use up what our bodies primed ourselves for. We can now snap out of this survival mode. We can normalize our body, normalize what's happening in our brain. And now we have a choice. We have a choice. Should we go back into survival mode, or can we take a different road and start taking our power back? And of course, if you can move, like go for a run or dance or whatever it might be, if you can move and sweat, that is a power combination, because the sweat actually helps to get rid of the hormones, the change in the hormones, the cortisol, the adrenaline, and the noradrenaline, that turbo boost that it gives you. It actually starts to clear that out in your sweat, which means that you are again releasing these hormones and you're balancing yourself back up to become neutral, out of survival mode, and then you can start to move forward. But of course, if you don't like moving and exercising and going for a run or lifting weights or what have you, here's another option. Maybe you're very sentimental and you love singing and dancing. So if you've got young girls like I do, you'll definitely know, let it go, let it go, right? And we can start singing, and that just immediately brings back memories of all three of us dancing in our living room floor. And the moment we get that, we go inward, we reminisce, we bring up those great memories, we start to reconnect with ourselves, we immediately shift out of survival mode again. And it's so easy to do. Just put on your favorite song, sing to your heart's content. Or if you're too shy, jump in the shower and then sing to your heart's content. It doesn't matter either way, because when you're in the shower, that warm water is so soothing, so comforting, and it works just as well. Now, you might not say, okay, you know what, look, I'm a really analytical person, and right now I'm just thinking about all this going, that's kind of silly. Who would want to just dance around singing Let It Go? Okay, not me. Yeah, me. Okay. Anyway, here's another option for you. So the other option would be, if you're so analytical, how about we think, I want you to stop right now, look around the room, find 10 things with different colors. So I've got brown over there, got blue over there, got pink over there, 3, green, purple, aqua, terracotta, silver, white, black, red, right? So the moment you go through and you just break that pattern, again, you're in survival mode. You're in that escape mode. You're getting busy doing things, or you are feeling everything's tensing up. You need to break that pattern. How do you snap out of it? You snap out of it. If you want to use your mind, just do that. Just pick colors in a room. And the moment you do that, you immediately break those chain of thoughts, those patterns. At that point in time, we have a choice. We have a choice whether we want to claim our power, be calm, relaxed, or stay in survival mode and stay being angry and stay doing everything that we've been doing before. But we have a choice now, the moment we break that pattern. And of course, if you really love maths, like my mum told me since I was a kid, you have to be good at maths. So I'm like, okay, let's count backwards from 996 by 7. Okay, so let's go. Everybody, can you join me? 996, go backwards by 7. I don't even know what the first number is, right? However, just the fact that I don't know the first number and I started to laugh at myself immediately gets me out of survival mode. And this is how you release the chains of survival mode. We use our body, we use the natural system of what stress does to us, and we can immediately calm the chaos. We can immediately find the peace. We can immediately start laughing. Is that simple, guys? Is that useful? Yeah? So we're going to move on to the spirit. And within the spirit, I just want to share with you that there were times when I did feel overwhelmed, and through the second half of the year, when I was working one of my clients as well, realized that a lot of people felt that they were overwhelmed. They felt like they couldn't do a lot of things that they wanted to do. There was a lot of struggle. There was home-based learning on top of working from home, on top of everything that was probably could go wrong, did go wrong, people fearing for their jobs. Like everything was a little bit too much. And as I said earlier, most of the time when we feel overwhelmed, we have a disconnect. We're in our head, hoping, wanting, praying, wishing, maybe reminiscing about the past. Oh, back in the good old days of 2019, right? I used to go on holiday. So we start to reminisce. And then, of course, we compare what up in here we wanted to what is happening around us. That disconnect, that gap is what's sending us into overwhelm. Then we start to struggle. What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? I can't seem to get by. It might show up as not being able to sleep. It might show up as endless thought processes. It might end up as just anxiety, panic attacks, right? Just not being able to get things done, just being really unpleasant or uncomfortable. So what I'd like you to do, and I'd love for you to write it down, pen and paper, but I would also just invite you to type it in the chat as well. I would like to ask you first, how many thoughts per day do you think that we have? The average human being on this world, how many thoughts do we have per day? Does anybody know? 80. 80 thoughts per day. I reckon I've had 80 thoughts since I started this program. I think there's a little bit more than 80. Like the thought could be, oh, I'm hungry. Oh, I'm thirsty. Oh, ooh, there's a nice cloud. That's another thought. So there is a few more than 80. Anybody else can guess per day how many? 300? Okay, sure. Anyone else would like to guess? Come on, give me a big number, a big juicy number. Because the number of thoughts per day that the average human has can be up to 60,000. Yeah, 60,000 thoughts per day. Yeah, our mind goes nuts. And I'm curious, do you know, can you guess what the ratio of positive to negative thoughts are? That means out of that 60,000 thoughts, how many are positive and how many are negative? Anyone know? Just have a guess. Oh, wow. 80%. You are right. 80% of those 60,000 thoughts are negative. And that's like, to me, that's nuts. Like, this is why, and I apologize to every Singaporean in this room, I've been told as an expat that one of the most favorite pastimes of Singaporeans is complaining. Now, I don't know if that's true. This is just a rumor, all right? And I don't want to be the bad guy here. But one of the things that most of us are good at is seeing things that aren't quite right. And when I do give someone a compliment, the reaction's almost like, what do you want? What do you want? And I'm like, it's just a compliment. I don't want anything. No. What's going on? What's going on? What can I help you with? Right? What do you want? So again, that's the negative thought that comes through. It's like we can't just take a compliment. Or for some people, it's so hard to even give a compliment because a positive thought, I mean, what? Well, what's that? But I want you to share just one last thing with you, right? One last thing. Do you think thoughts are repetitive? Does anybody think thoughts are repetitive? Yeah, I see a couple of very true. Yes, people think thoughts are repetitive. So if you think thoughts are repetitive, what percentage of the 60,000 thoughts that we have per day are repetitive? Have a guess. Any percentage you like. One, of course, 1 to 100 or 0 to 100. So you've got a 1 in 100th chance of getting it right. Oh, that was a negative. Okay, 70, 40, 70, 50. Not bad. We need to go higher. Anyone else want to guess? Higher than 70%. The number of repetitive thoughts per day is 95%. 95% of the thoughts that we're having today is what we had yesterday. And this makes it very difficult when somebody says to you, just be positive, just snap out of it, stop thinking like that. We've been training ourselves, reaffirming ourselves 60,000 times a day, every day. That is a lot of reaffirmations. So if we want to find a way to balance our spirit, to realign ourselves back into who we are, not what happens in here, because here's the magic, here's the trick. What happens in here, that's not us. That is the furthest away from us as it could be. Our mind is such a powerful tool. It can convince you of anything. If you want to believe, I would love to say something, I'd love to say something controversial, but I won't. If you would like to believe that my shirt is yellow, and your brain would be able to come up with lots and lots of reasons why you are right. Just like when I talk to my clients and they say, is my neck pain because of bad posture? They've already come up with 1,000 reasons why that is the case, even if I say no. That's how smart our brain is, but it's not really what's happening in reality. So we need to start to realign ourselves with ourselves. And there's a couple of ways of doing that. The first way is by grounding. If we are able to ground ourselves means be present. If we are able to be present right here, right now, that's going to make a world of difference. So I would like you to join me on this little journey that we're having right now. If you are sitting, feel free to sit up tall. Put your feet flat on the floor. That's the most important. Feet flat on the floor. And I'll invite you to close your eyes if you're comfortable. I just want you to feel you sitting on your seat. If you're standing, I'd like you to feel that your ground firmly placed on the ground. And now for everybody, notice your legs and your feet. You can wiggle them if you like, just to make sure that they're there, that you're aware of them. And just feel the floor, the hardness of the floor. If you've got a carpet, you'll feel that it's super soft and plush. And if you're on a hard tiled floor, you feel the coolness of the floor come through your feet. And I want you to now imagine in your mind's eye that from the soles of your feet connecting to the ground, there are roots growing out of your feet. And the roots are penetrating into the ground beneath you. They're pushed all the way through the ground into the dirt, into the rock, and it starts to make its way to the core of the earth. And the roots keep pushing down and growing down, down, down through the earth from your feet. And it gets all the way down to that molten lava core of the earth. It goes around the core, loops all the way down, and then comes straight back up. And the roots are now flying straight up through the different layers of the earth, all the way back into your feet. You can feel it into your feet. You can now feel the energy in your feet as the roots continue to grow from your feet up your shins to your knees, from knees to your hips to your spine. And once it's in your spine, you can feel like you're more energetic. You're actually growing taller, sitting straighter, coming all the way straight up, and then coming straight through the top of your head, all the way up to the universe. want you to just pause. Just feel how connected you are to the ground. Can you feel the energy from the ground through your legs, all the way through your spine, right up through the top of your head? I just get you to open your eyes again when you're ready. And that is grounding. Do you feel you're present right now? Do you feel you're completely grounded right now? Right here, right now. No excessive thoughts, no stress, no pressure. Yeah, I see some heads nodding. So if we're able to be present, and this doesn't have to take as long as I just shared with you, but I want you to fully experience it. But for example, if you're going to go out now and you see your kids playing with a glass cup, and you go, before you explode at them, just ground yourself and change your approach. Because most of the time we explode before we really understand what's going on. And the more present we are, the more we can choose. Remember, it's always the choice. We can choose to be calm. Of course, we can always choose to be angry or upset or sad or frightened, anxious. We can always choose to be grounded as well and to be present here. There's one other part of this realignment. I should go through another process, and that process is realigning within yourself. So grounding is being present, realigning is with you, right? And to be you and to appreciate who you are. And especially for people who are in, actually in all three, because if you're in the flight mode, if you were the number one earlier, grounding is very, very useful, very, very beneficial, right? Grounding is super, super beneficial. If you're in number two and you're always escaping, and if you're in number three, which means that you're always being intimidated and you're always feeling small and helpless and unable to move forward, then being you and resonating with yourself and knowing your purpose and feeling you, that's this next step. Because we started a little late today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you guys, actually it's right there just above my head. I'm going to give you guys actually the free download. It's a video, it's an MP3, and you can actually save that to your phone later and get that recording for yourself so you can play that and go through. And essentially, we really want to connect with ourselves, as you can see in this picture here. Right? This is me doing it live with one of my clients. And the more that we can reconnect and realign ourselves, we can start to balance ourselves. We won't have that gap of, I want this, or why isn't that happening, or why can't I? Separate ourselves from that. Be present, be me. Then we can choose what happens next. And if we can start to realign our spirit, there's only one thing left to do. And that is to renew our mind. And when I say renew your mind, why last year I was able to accomplish things that, to be quite frank, I thought I couldn't. It was way too hard, seemed impossible. There were so many things that I was trying to do all at once, and I didn't know where to start. It just seemed like I was trying to do this, trying to do that, and getting absolutely nowhere. But we don't need to feel like everything is a blank piece of paper and I don't know which step to take and I don't know what to write down first. And I'm struggling with how to engage my staff and how to retain my clients. I mean, these are the things I was facing last year as well when I lost business. So if we want to renew our mind, I have a very simple formula. And because every time I think about using our brain, well, I don't know, maybe I'm hardwired Chinese, so math comes to mind. And if you've ever done maths before, you'll know that A plus A equals, what does A plus A equal? Anyone know? Ah, yeah, somebody's good at maths. 2A. All right. Well, we're not adding this. So there's no equal sign. So we're not doing any addition. We don't need to know algebra. But we do need to know this formula. This is a formula that I use all the time to make it easier for people who feel overwhelmed, who feel like they're trying to do too much, or they don't even know how to make things better. Like, I want to build my business, but I don't even know where to start. Okay. And there's 3 steps, 3 parts to this formula. A, assess. So we're going to go through and assess your core values. So if you have a piece of paper, it'd be fantastic. If you got a phone, works as well, but paper would be better, pen and paper, that is. I would like you to write down 5 things ending with ing that is important to you. Okay, so 5 things that end in ing that is important. All right, so that could be dancing, singing, loving, hugging, working. Don't think anyone's going to write that, right? Maybe speaking, eating. So what are these 5 things? The 5 most important things. All right. Of course, if you want to write more than that, you're welcome to. But for just today, we want to do a really mini version, condensed version of this. Have you got 5 things? Can I get a show of hands if you're good to go? Yep. Okay. Or a type in a yes if we're good to go. Perfect. Okay. So that's one column, 5 things. I want you to create another column. Press a couple of enters if you like. And I want you to write down 5 things that are important to you, but don't end in ing. So those things could be family, integrity, patience, money, friends, holidaying. Oh, well, that ends in ing. Sorry, can't say holidaying. That should have been in the first one. So again, 5 things. It can be anything that's important. It can be being authentic. That's important for some people. It can be courageous, having courage. So write down 5 things that are important to you. All right, because this program, this part of the program is about trying to help you to improve your life, improve your well-being, start to take control of your life, start to achieve a better end of the year or even better end of the year than you already have this year. What I want you to do now is within these 2 columns of 5 that you have, I want you to look at the first and second word you wrote in the first column. And I want you to go, okay, between the first word and the second word, which one's more important? So for example, if I wrote dancing and singing as my first 2 words, I'd have to go, oh, dancing and singing, which one is higher ranked? Which one's more important? Dancing. Okay, so I'll scratch out singing. So put a line through singing and then go through the next 2 words. So the third and fourth word, and let's just say those 2 words was eating and drinking, let's say. Yeah, I think eating is more important than drinking, so I'll scratch out drinking, right? So I want you to do that, and I want you to keep canceling out words until you have 1 word on the ing column and 1 word on the non-ing column. All right, and just give me a heads up when you're done. Fantastic. So right now you should have 2 words. You should have 1 ing word and 1 non-ing word. Is that right? See some nodding heads. Fantastic. Now I just want you to pick one of them. It doesn't matter which one. Up to you which one. Actually, no, don't pick one yet. My apologies. What we're going to do is we are now going to rate it. We're going to rate it out of 10. Okay. What do I mean by rate it? Let's say, can I get somebody's word, please? Can someone send me their word? Either one or both. What words do we have? Loving and family. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so we got more loving. Family. Okay, healthy. Cooking. Ooh, yum. Okay, so let's just say, okay, so we have loving and family. That was the first one that came through. So what I want you to do is, out of 10, I want you to assess yourself. How loving are you? If 10 was perfect score and 0 was hopefully for loving, you are not at 0, because that would be horrendous. Okay, I want you to just get a gauge, right? What is important to you are these two words. These two things, family or cooking or healthy or whatever. Health, right? Health is important. Right now, assess your health. Where are you on that scale? Do you feel that you are 10 out of 10? I'm really healthy. Yep, I'm a 10. Or is it like a 4 or 5 or a 6? Cooking, not to say how good are you cooking, but it's more like cooking in your life. Are you cooking as much as you'd like? Are you enjoying your cook? Like, what could be improved if there was anything that you felt, you could measure a scale of, is cooking really good? Like, do you cook enough? Are you not cooking enough? Do you feel like you're always dragging your feet when you cook? Do you always hate cooking? I mean, what is that, right? So put a number out of 10, all right? And then when you have your numbers out of 10 and you've rated it, I want you to choose for this time round. You can do it again by yourself. This time round, I want you to choose the lowest score. All right. So let's say I rated cooking at an 8 because I've been cooking a lot and baking and everybody's enjoying my food. But health, I probably could be doing more. I'd probably rate that like a 6. Yeah. So then I would just choose health. All right. So everybody got there now one word. You should only have one word left because we've rated them. Is that right? Everybody's got one word? Yep. Fantastic. Okay. So the next step is, if health was a 6 out of 10, what could I do to just add one more point? What could I do to just make it a 7 out of 10? Right. And I just want you to write down maybe 3 things that I could do, or that you could do to just increase just 1 point. We're not trying to achieve the whole word. We're not trying to get 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100. Just saying, okay, if I would be getting more healthy, maybe I could like schedule a run every week, once a week, right? To start easy, right? And if I did once a week and I did that consistent enough, I reckon that would earn me 1 point, right? And for you, it might be different. You might feel like, to earn 1 point, I think I need to run twice a week, not just once a week. So whatever that works for you, just write down a couple of different things. So it could be, I could say schedule it running once a week, or maybe I could say I will stop eating food after 10 p.m. That would increase my health mark by 1 point. All right, so I'll write a few down. Okay, and so once you've written down these 3 things, I want you to then read them out aloud to yourself right now. All right, the 3 different points. And as you read them out aloud, I want you to just feel. It's something that you feel, not something that you think. Which one you are more excited to do, which one you are willing to do, which one you feel more resonated, connected with. And just put a big circle around that. Because the last step, yep, I see people looking down and coming back, perfect. So the last step is, well, go about doing it, right? And this is essentially how last year I ended up having a really, really good year. Was I just put my head down and just did one thing that just increased it by 1 point, and that was it. And then I go, okay, I'll go and restart again. I'll assess. Okay, well, now I'm a 7 out of 10. So if I want to go from 7 to 8, what's that jump like? And what do I need to do? And just do that one thing, just that one thing. And this is how we start to pick up momentum, and we start to celebrate. And once we celebrate these little wins, we say, oh yes, I got that, I did that. We start to pick up more momentum, and things will start to change our way, and life will turn around and help us, and things will just fall into place, and everything will just be perfect. Well, as good as it can be. So I want you to understand that if we can start to tweak our brain and not look at huge things and just focus on one point, just increasing by 1 point, that's really going to make all the difference. Because to me, right now, there are so many different things that we can do. We can easily release tension from our body. And even right now, with what I said before about moving or dancing and singing or breaking free by looking at colors, using our mind, there are certain things that we can do right now to even just make that easier. So I'm breaking that one step up into like even tinier steps. And maybe the first step would be just to go and find your favorite song. Because if you're able to find your favorite song and you're able to play your favorite song and you have it on speed dial on your mobile phone, then the moment that you play it, you'll just be like, yes. And then you get pumped up. And then when you get pumped up, you're like, okay, this is fantastic. So we want to be able to do that. If it plays, and if we can just start to play this pump up music, we really start to just go, okay, we have music here, and this is what I love, and this is what I'm going to sing and dance to every time I feel like I'm down. Go and find that song that works for you. And that's like the easiest thing that you can do. That can be like your little one step that you just do right now. Yeah. Something else that you can do right now. Doesn't take a lot of effort. As I said before, go and download the little MP3 or go and watch the video and just play the video and just download the MP3, put it on your phone. And the same thing, every time you feel overwhelmed, every time you feel disconnected with yourself, every time you feel like out there is going nuts and internally I'm feeling very anxious or frustrated or upset, and I feel like there's a big contrast between what's happening in my reality, in my world now, and what I really want, I can just bring myself back, find the calmness, and go through a little meditation, and we're just back to neutral, back to calm, back to, okay, I have a choice now what I can do next. All right, so you can go and download, that's up there. You'll download that and play that. And of course, for your mind, again, work out what that 1 point is. And if your 1 point, let's say my 1 point was doing a run once a week, for example, I might be like, okay, well, how about I buy like a pair of running shoes? That could just be the first step. So right now, I'm just going to buy a pair of running shoes, because if I buy it and then I don't use it, I'm going to feel bad, right? So I'm going to try and guilt myself into running. Or I might be like, I'm going to buy a pair of shoes that I really love and I love wearing them. They look really cool. I'm going to buy the whole outfit and I think I look great. And that might inspire and encourage me because I want to wear it. Right? Or it could be you're just going to go and call a friend and say, hey, look, you know what? I'd love to run once a week. Can you come along with me? Okay. Or it could be just go and download the Strava app. Right? And that's it. Again, all of these are just little points that we can start right now, little wins that we can start to get the momentum going. And the more we create the momentum, we clear out all the fuzz, all the haze, all the chaos goes out the window, because we start getting on track. We start getting aligned with what we truly want. Because when we went through those core values, right? I asked you to cancel everything off. You probably canceled something. Oh, but I love that, but I have to cross one of them out. So we're really going down to what you truly want, what you truly need. And that is going to inspire you. So bring yourself back to that. So I'd like to open up as we wrap up now. If there are any questions here, feel free to type in the chat, or if you'd like to unmute and speak, that would be fantastic as well. No questions. Was that valuable for you guys? Yeah, I see some nodding heads. Very.
I want to ask about that one presentation.
Sure. Hey, where am I?
Yes.
Can you see me?
Hi, Luke. Hi, Gina. Yep.
Hey,
We can
hi.
see and hear you.
Yes, it's such an amazing presentation. Yeah. So Gina, I would like to ask, like, how do you do that, like with all the visuals at the background, and then you, in a way that
Yeah, it looks like a recorded video rather than a live video. But you can click and the words move. So yeah, and
She's
the
quite
background is
impressive
black
there.
color.
Yeah.
So I just want to know like how do you do it?
Not 100% relevant. But anyway.
Virtual backgrounds. That's it.
Virtual
backgrounds.
Yeah, but what about the words?
What about the words?
Yeah,
You just change the words.
You can change the words.
Really?
But anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Thank you.
when do you start meditation?
No worries.
When do you actually started meditation, and then how does that go in sync with like chiropractic as well?
I'll say there's many reasons why we can meditate, and there's many ways you can meditate.
Sure.
Meditation doesn't have to be with chiropractic. It doesn't have to be with anything. You can just meditate and not believe in God and not believe in Buddha and not do yoga. I mean, so there are, like I said, different types of meditation. The meditation that I have for you to download here is really just to help you to reconnect with yourself, right? It has got nothing spiritual. It's got nothing religious. It is really just a way for you to get out of your head, just like the grounding meditation you did. It's just to get out of your head, to get out of the chaos of the world around you and start to tune into who you are. And the moment you do that, and if you watch the video that I did live and that I shot there for you guys, was that video when I asked the gentleman at the end, hey, how's that? He just like was in a trance still. He's like, I feel relaxing. And it was just, and that's exactly what it is. You see, if you can calm the chaos, there is peace. And it doesn't matter what happens around you. That's the best part, right? And so the meditation, again, there are a lot of different types of meditation. I'm not necessarily telling you to meditate. I'm just using the word maybe as a guided meditation because that's kind of what it is. It's a guided, it's not even visualization. That's something different that I do. But it's, but how it ties in, well, it's just appreciating our body. And if it does tie into chiropractic, it's because of this. If we want to get healthy, we need to start to work with our body, not against it. And the more in tune, the more in sync, the more grounded we are to ourselves, the more likely we're going to heal, the more likely we're going to thrive. Survival mode is our body running wild, protecting us. It's not a bad thing. It's just surviving.
Just curious, right? Like how long do you meditate on a daily basis to really feel relaxed? Yeah.
The MP3 is 6.5 minutes, and that's that MP3 is 6.5 minutes. It's not slow, it's not fast, okay, but to me it's very short, and you won't know 6.5 minutes has gone by. That means you'll lie there, and 6.5 minutes are going to disappear, and then you're going to go, "What? That's it? I got to get up now and face reality again." So, and this is, to me, this is the best part about having more guided meditation, rather than you sit down in a nice quiet place and then you close your eyes and you focus on your breath, and then 2 minutes later you're like, am I done? Is it an hour yet? So it's definitely a different feel, okay, when somebody's walking through with you. So to me, the duration doesn't matter. If we could spend 1 minute, if you could spend 1 minute every hour to ground yourself like we did just now, or to meditate in whichever sense or form or shape you like, just 1 minute, that's already amazing.
Sure. Just to share, right, because lately I got Oculus Quest, which is a virtual reality set. And then there's quite a number of apps on it with related to meditation. So I think it gets you into an environment, a virtual environment, like in the middle of an ocean, and then you can be seated like in front of a sofa looking at the ocean. I think that pretty much helped.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think there are so many different apps that are like what you said with the VRs. I mean, it's all of that is amazing, and it breaks the ice, or it helps you to get into the meditation.
Sure.
What I will suggest maybe is that if you do the meditation, again, different forms of meditation, yeah. So I'm just speaking from one form of mindfulness meditation, is we actually want less stimulus, not necessarily more. So what you're talking about is, I mean, it's puts you in a great state, but if you're able to observe the thoughts, if you're able to observe your breath in terms of like a real meditation, not even the guided meditation that I was sharing before, that has a lot more research behind it, and that in terms of being beneficial. And so a lot of it is less stimulus, less thoughts, rather than, oh, wow, this is beautiful. Oh, wow, this is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Got it.
I have a question, Gary.
Yes.
I think it's probably to do more with like, how do you stay conscious of this and how do you achieve that consistency? Because it's something that, like, okay, you are at the moment in it, and then you need to bring yourself back quite often, so are there like some tricks to it, or, is it like you have to just be conscious of it all the time? Because being conscious all the time is another job, So yeah, just from personal experience.
Okay, so two parts of this. The first part, if we just start from where we finished the previous conversation, I guess the more you meditate, the more conscious you're going to be, because the more present and the more aware you are.
Right.
So then it's not really an effort to be conscious, because technically we should be conscious of ourselves right now. So that's one benefit of meditating. If we step away from the meditation side of things, the first thing that I suggest is I will need to send you a link maybe for this, because I have misplaced it. I'm not sure where I've put it. I thought it was on a slide, but I can send you, or just jump on Instagram and just drop me a message. Okay. So just jump over there, Dr. Gary Tho, on Instagram. Just drop me a private message and say, hey, I want to get this. Can you please send me this so I can score myself, and send me the results so that I can see? This is a good place to start, because if you can understand your habits and your behaviors, if you can start to catch that, you then don't need to be aware. It's almost like when you speak to somebody and they keep saying, eventually you'll just hear it all the time. And so then you'll start telling them that maybe they shouldn't stop saying, words that are filler words. And then, right, so you will notice. And if you can get awareness of what your mode is, then you can already start to step out of it. And you can step out of it using the 3 techniques that I gave you, right? From the mind, body, spirit perspective. As you break and step out of that, release yourself from the physical body's survival mode instincts. But of course, then you go, oh yeah, I'm following that path now. And if I'm following that path, then okay, wait, how do I break that pattern now? Right? And then you don't need to be mindful, because you have that awareness. Having the awareness is the first step. The hardest second step is accepting it. And sometimes the harder third step is deciding to change.
Agree.
But it has to go through those 3 steps. You need to have you need to have awareness first. And after awareness, accept, oh yeah, this is what I'm doing. Oh yeah, I've been yelling at my kids too much. Oh yeah, I've been jumping the gun. And then when they explain to me, I feel really bad. I shouldn't have yelled at them, because actually they were just trying to help. Right? So then we have to go, oh, okay, yeah, this is what's going on. You have to kind of accept it. Go, okay, yep, I'm definitely doing this. And okay, And you know, that's okay. I'm not trying to get you to get angry at yourself. I'm just like, okay, that's okay, because I was stuck in survival mode. I didn't know any better. It's just autopilot, right? It just happens. So you have to accept that. And then
That's
you
useful.
have to decide what to do next.
Thank you. Thank you. It's very useful. I'll get you the
All right,
message.
so, okay, sure, yeah. So just drop me a message on Instagram, Dr. Gareth, and I can send that to you with everything there. So I'd like everybody in the room just to rate yourself one more time. What level of stress are you at right now? Yeah, so we see some lower scores now, 1s and 2s. So we can easily calm ourselves down. We can find these pockets of peace in our day. And of course, the more we do that, the better we sleep, the better we work, the better we play, the better we connect with people. So remember, we can release what's happening in our body. Don't let our survival mode instinct control us. Start to realign ourselves with ourselves, right? Being present with us, being aware of ourselves. And when everything feels like it's too hard and too much, just break it down, just one step, just one point. That's all you need, right? Just shift, renew your mindset. That way, you'll always calm the chaos. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you so much. And at least I feel grounded for a moment.
Yes, I definitely did as well.
Thank you. Amazing presentation. Thank you.
I think really amazing your sharing. So as I said earlier, we would be having this recorded and it will be later in our resource page for those who missed it. And I guess any one of you can reach out to Gary via his private
Instagram.
Instagram. Yeah, he just left that.
Wherever, LinkedIn or Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm not using it as much as I'd like, but the LinkedIn works actually. LinkedIn works. I didn't even think of that until now.
Okay. Anyway, we have also linked Dr. Gary Tho's profile on the post that we did for the EDM post that we did for him. So you can reach out to him easily there, and on Instagram as well. Sorry, can we have your handle again so they could reach out to you if they would like?
Yeah. Yep. So you can just reach out. Dr. Gary Tho on
Okay,
Instagram.
great.
Got it.
So feel free. I think we are still bound to be in this survival mode for hopefully not too long.
At least we are surviving.
Yes, it's a good first step.
Yeah, good to be alive now.
Good job with us and really appreciate the time. And
Yes, thank you very much, Dr.
Yeah,
Gary
thank
Tho.
you very much.
Not a problem.
something, reach out to Gary on personal basis if you really feel that any of these areas need some fixing. And we would continue with these weekly webinars. I think next week we would have Luke sharing on his
Yes,
journey.
we'll have Luke.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Pandemic, and I think before and beyond and during whatever he feels like it would benefit people. But we are also trying to slot in a segment of maybe another merchant or member coming in with their product or service promotion. So that may just take a very few minutes at the end of the webinar, but that will be like a new format moving forward from next week. But yeah, it should benefit all those who attend, I think, especially the members who are in the webinar. Yeah, so that much from me. Thank you so much, everyone. Stay safe. Be positive, okay?
And meditate.
And be grounded, yes.
Grounded, yes.
Be grounded.
Yeah, stay grounded, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, something that I think I can take away very, very, especially with 4 kids around, I think. Thanks for that.
Sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Gary Tho. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.